Elena's breath came sharp and shallow, as if every lungful of air cut her from within. The Apache's words were simple, but they carried weight she could not understand. The fire chose you. What did that mean? She stumbled back until her shoulders pressed against the rough bark of a mesquite tree, her eyes darting toward the black horizon, as if her family might still emerge from the storm. But there was only darkness, only the sound of coyotes crying in the distance, only the steady flicker of the campfire that painted shadows across the warrior's broad chest. He had not moved. His stillness unnerved her more than any sudden gesture might have. His calm was the calm of a predator who knew his strength was absolute, who had no need to prove it. The wind tugged at her hair, carrying the scent of wood smoke, leather, and something faintly wild sagebrush crushed beneath boot heels. Sweat born of survival. She swallowed hard, unable to keep her eyes from tracing the painted markings across his skin. They spiraled over his chest in dark strokes, symbols she could not read, yet they spoke of a world older than hers, deeper than hers, bound to earth and fire in ways her upbringing had never taught her. She wanted to hate him, to call him savage, to remind herself of every warning whispered at night around campfires by settlers like her father. But her heart betrayed her, drumming painfully, erratically, not only with fear. Where? Her voice cracked, and she tried again. Where is this place? Where have you taken me? His gaze did not waver. Near my people, in the desert that is ours before it was yours. His words carried no boast, only fact. The storm would have killed you, so I brought you here. The way he said ours struck her. It was not a claim spoken in greed, but in the way one might say my hand or my breath, an inseparable belonging, a truth. Elena drew her shawl tighter, as if thin cloth could shield her from that truth, from him. I must go back, she said desperately. My family, they are gone. His reply cut like a blade, swift, merciless. Yet there was no cruelty in his voice. It was simply a wound of truth laid bare. The storm took them. You are the only one left. Her knees weakened, and she sank against the tree, hands covering her face. No, he had to be wrong. Her father was strong, her mother steadfast. They would not be lost so easily, not to mere wind and sand. But even as she tried to summon denial, memory clawed back the way the wagon splintered, the horses screaming, the world swallowed in dust and thunder, the hand she clung to slipping away, her mother's cry disappearing into the roar. Tears burned her eyes, and her chest convulsed with a sob she tried to silence. For a long time, only the fire spoke between them, crackling as sparks lifted into the night. When Elena finally dared to lower her hands, she found the warrior still watching her. His eyes were not pitying, nor were they cold. They were steady, unreadable, like the gaze of the desert itself. What do you want from me? She whispered hoarsely. The question hung in the air, raw and trembling. He rose slowly, and the firelight revealed the full height of him, taller than any man she had known, shoulders broad beneath leather and bone, every movement controlled with the silent grace of a predator. He stepped closer, and Elena pressed back against the tree, heart hammering. But he did not touch her. Instead, he crouched, the fire's glow casting shadows along his sharp cheekbones, his strong jaw. What I want, he said at last, his voice low and steady, does not matter. The fire chose you. Her lips parted, breath shallow. What fire? What do you mean? He did not answer at once. Instead, he reached into a pouch at his side and drew out a small piece of stone, polished smooth, streaked with crimson veins that gleamed faintly in the firelight. He held it in his palm between them, as though it carried the weight of a world. This is the heart stone, he explained. It is given to the one who will carry the flame of life into the tribe. Tonight, when the storm broke, it cracked from the mountain and fell at my feet. When I lifted it, the wind carried me to you. His gaze burned into hers. That is the sign. That is why you live. Elena's skin prickled, the hair rising at the nape of her neck. She wanted to laugh, to deny such superstition. Stones did not choose, wind did not guide. And yet, hadn't the storm itself hurled her into his arms? Hadn't she woken against his chest, alive when she should have been frozen, lost, broken? Her reason battled her terror. Her terror battled something deeper, something dangerously close to awe. I don't believe you, she whispered, though her voice lacked conviction. You will, he replied simply. They stayed like that, the fire crackling between them, until the night deepened and exhaustion dragged at her body once more. Every instinct screamed at her not to sleep, not to surrender her senses to this man, the stranger whose people were sworn enemies to hers. But her limbs trembled with weariness, her eyelids burned with the weight of tears. Slowly, she slid down against the tree, curling into herself, trying to keep distance from him. Yet when the cold crept in, relentless and sharp, she felt warmth again, the brush of a blanket, rough but thick, laid over her shoulders. She startled, lifting her gaze, but he had already stepped back to the fire, his face turned to the flames. "Sleep," he said, without looking at her. "Tomorrow, the others will decide." The others, his people. Fear knifed through her anew. What would they do when they found her? Would they see her as a prisoner, a trespasser? Would they kill her, or worse? But fatigue was stronger than fear. Her eyes fluttered, the firelight blurring into golden haze. The last thing she remembered was the sound of his steady breathing, the heat of his presence even across the space between them.